Hello students, welcome again. In today's lecture, we want to understand linguistics and these two different phrases used in linguistics, and they are language change and language variations. See, all languages in this world which are used continuously, actively by the people are dynamic by nature. All languages are dynamic, that means they keep on changing from time to time, from place to place. Okay, there are thousands of languages in the world spoken in today's times, but no language is static because change is the basic or fundamental nature of all languages, and that's why when we study language we need to understand what this language change is and what these language variations are. Now look at this screen. Here you can see, there are basically four types of language change, and they are phonological change, morphological change, semantic change, and syntactic change. Okay, we are going to discuss them in detail, and at the same time there are four types of language variations, and they are dialectal variation, sociolactal variation, register variation, and ethnolactal variations. Okay, so one by one we are going to discuss them in detail. See what a language change is. You must have seen that when we were children, we used to play a game. We used to sit in one circle and one child passes a message to the other child. The same message is passed on to the next child, and this is how a message passes from the first person to the last person. Now the interesting thing to note about this game is that by the time this message reaches the last child, it is found as a changed message. Okay, so that shows that language is not static, it keeps on changing. Okay, we find some modifications over time in its structure. Sometimes we find some changes in vocabulary, in pronunciation, in grammar, and so on. The first language change that we should understand is phonological change. Phonological change means the change that we see in pronunciation. Okay, like great vowel shift in English, which was found during the 15th, 16th, and 17th centuries, was a major phonological change where the pronunciation of the long vowel was shifted. For example, in Middle English period, people used to speak this word House as whose, not house. But in modern English, we speak this word as house. Okay, so whose, which was there in Middle English, becomes house in modern times. So you find a change in pronunciation which is known as phonological change. The second change, which is most important, is morphological change. Now, morphological change means the change that you see in the structure of the words. Okay, sometimes some prefixes and some suffixes which were done in olden days, now they are done in a different manner. That is called morphological change. For example, in old English language, nouns used different endings which are also known as inflections, okay, to show the grammatical roles like subject, object, and possession. Let me give you this example. The word stone had several forms like stand or stands. You look at these two sentences. The stand is black. Now this is Middle English language. Okay, so the change in the word you find in modern English. Now we do not speak it as stan. We write it as stone. Okay. The stan's color is black. You see, there is no apostrophe mark here. Moreover, there is also a change in spelling of this word. So that means what? That means the words are also changed. The shapes and the form of the word is also changed all through the time from Middle English to modern English. Okay, so that is called morphological change. In the same manner, the third important change is syntactic change, and syntactic change means the changes that we see in sentence structure. Okay, in modern times we have the sentence structure as subject followed by verb followed by object, but if you see the old English language, if you examine the English language which was spoken from 5th to 11th century, you find that the sentences used to begin with the subject followed by object followed by verb. So there was a different structure. Okay, he the book read. This was an old English style, but he read the book is a modern English style. So from time to time, we also find some changes in the structures. The fourth important change that we see is semantic change. Semantic change means the change that we see in the meaning of the words over a time. From time to time, one particular word which was used in olden time and the same word which is used in modern time, the meaning changes. For example, the word nice originally meant foolish. Okay, nice meant foolish and nice meant ignorant in Middle English times during the 11th and 12th centuries. But in modern times, we have a different meaning. In the same manner, the word girl used to mean a person of either gender. Girl meant a male or a female in Middle English period, but now in today's times, a girl means a female child. So, from period to period, the meaning also changes. So total there are 4 language changes, important changes. Now we want to discuss language variation. Now, what is language variation? Language variation means, at one particular point of time, at different places, different societies, and different cultures, they use the same language in different manners. Okay, you find different changes, variations in their pronunciation, sometimes in their vocabulary, and sometimes in their grammar. Okay, which leads to different types of language variations, and basically there are 4 types of language variations that we want to understand today. So the first variation is dialectical variation. Differences in language based on region. Region means geographical area. Okay, for example, English is one common language. It is a lingua franca, but English is spoken in America and English is spoken in Britain also, but they are different from each other. Okay, American English in America, people call the word apartment. Okay, but in Britain, people call it a flat. In the same manner, in America, you have the word elevator, and in Britain, you have the word lift. In America, people speak the word as schedule, but in Britain, people speak the same word in a different manner as schedule. So there are differences in American English and in Britain English. That is called dialectical variation in language. The second important variation is sociolinguistical variation. Language differences found in different social classes. they are known as sociolactal variations. For example, in British English, some vocabulary can mark different social classes. For example, the word napkin is used by the upper class people, but the lower class people use the word as servate. Okay. In the same manner, some upper class people call the word house, but the lower class people call this word house. So there is a difference of language, variation of language that you see among different social classes. The third important variation is register variation. Here, register variation means the changes in language depending on the context. In different contexts, people use different languages. For example, in a formal situation, okay, you are attending a meeting and you are talking to your boss. It is a formal conversation. You would say, could you please provide me some assistance? This is a formal language. But when you are sitting with your friend having a cup of tea, it is an informal meeting, and there you will not use this sentence, could you please provide me some assistance? No, better you would say, can you help me? So this, depending on situations, depending on context also, people use different languages. That is called register variation. And the fourth important variation is ethnolactal variation. Ethnolactal variation means the change that you see with different ethnic groups. Okay, for example, in America there is a group of people called African American people. Okay, and they have their own language, they have their own vocabulary. For example, you can see here, these African American people, they use the habitual word be to show the repeated actions. Okay, they don't say that he usually works, they better say he be working. So they make use of be many times to show regular action. Okay, so they have their own language, they have made some changes in the existing English language. In the same manner, when they pronounce the word test, the last t sound is not spoken by these African American people. They call it as test, not test. Okay, so there you find these changes. So all in all, let me conclude this lecture by saying that language change and language variation, they are natural processes. Okay, why? Because all languages are dynamic languages. Language keeps on changing from time to time, and this change and variation, they depend on different culture, different region, different societies, different ethnic groups, and so on. I hope this lecture is helpful to you in your studies. Please do share this among all your classmates. Thank you for watching. Thank you.